professional sound.
Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Adam Carswell, and today I want to share with you an analysis of the book Mastering the Rockefeller Habits by Verne Harnish. This is an amazing book, and it has taught me some amazing things since reading it, a lot of which I already see myself thinking about and relating to in daily life. So I want to share this knowledge with you in the most efficient way possible, so that way if you want to read this book but you find that it's hard to make time to do so, don't consider this the only way to read it, but this is a great shortcut for you, and I approve of it. So without further ado, we're just going to talk about some of the basic topics of this book, Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. Also research Verne Harnish if you haven't. Very amazing individual, has achieved a lot in his lifetime, especially the creation of this book. But that's like one tiny thing of the many things that Verne Harnish has done. So Google him, look him up. So one of the most important things that the Rockefeller Habits talks about is the topic of critical numbers. So what are critical numbers? Critical numbers are important to success. A company should have one or two with which they align over the next 3 to 12 months. So quarterly, annually, you need to have numbers, or in other words, goals, but referred to as critical numbers, set every 3 to 12 months in a company, or I would say just in life in general, to really help you as an individual progress further and further to the next step. When you set those critical numbers, those goals, you'll be amazed, if you're not already doing it, just how much your life can change from today to even 3 months or 12 months from now. So critical numbers. I also want to say this book is really geared more towards somebody who's either trying to build a company, or someone who's already in a company where they are looking to build up what they have been given a chance to be responsible with, whether it's people or software, whatever it is that you're managing, whatever it is that you're growing. This book is kind of like a step-by-step guide on how to expand it and become like Rockefeller. That's why it's the Rockefeller Habits. If your company lacks a key player, make finding one your top priority. Too often, instead of making necessary personnel changes, the CEO just starts growing redundant bureaucracy around the deadwood. It happens a lot, and it holds companies back. Prioritize replacing dead weight with talent. We're going to use LeBron James as an example. Okay, LeBron James is obviously one of the most talented individuals in the world at what he does. And so when you when you bring on LeBron James to your team, or when you bring on just a superstar player, that is going to completely transform your company and what you're doing. Now, sometimes probably locating and finding these talented individuals could be tough. It could even be financially hard to do. However, it's worth every penny in the long run to invest in talent instead of trying to grow people that are not ever going to be as talented or as motivated as someone like LeBron James. So now I want to tell you about the essentials to any serious proposal or request in the business world. This one we're going to relate it more towards maybe you need, for example, a multi-million-dollar loan to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Only way you're going to get a multi-million-dollar loan is if you have a extremely well-structured proposal for whoever's going to be giving you the loan. So how do you do the fundamentals in structuring this proposal? The package needs to be professionally produced in the 3-ring binder with a plastic slip for the cover page. You need a table of contents. If you're going to use graphics, which are preferred, make sure they're in color. 14-point type block paragraphs, numbered pages, headers, footers. All this stuff is stuff that you should have probably learned before, but we're going to go over it again now. Sentences should be no more than 25 words, and paragraphs should be no more than 75 words. So I hope you got all that. If you're not, just go back a little bit and re-listen to what I just said. But if you want to put together a beautiful package, okay, obviously that what I just mentioned doesn't have all of the details of whatever it is that you're trying to get, in this case, a loan for, but the basic presentation needs to be professional. That will make it look professional, what we just discussed. The first $1 or $2 million in revenue that you make with your company or whatever it is that you are doing, the first $1 million or $2 million, the focus is on getting interest in the marketplace, interested in you. So obviously you want, customers and everyone that you're trying to sell to pay attention to you and help you and realize what you have to offer is great. But during that first 1 to 2 million, if you can get other, I'm going to use my real estate business as an example, and I'm still in the first 1 to 2 years, so this can relate directly to me. Yes, it's great that those that I interact with are aware of the fact that I'm in real estate, but when I start getting interest in the marketplace, interested in me, meaning other realtors in this area or around the world or anyone else who's involved in real estate, when they start putting their interest in my company and what I'm doing, that's when the ball will really start rolling, because that's how you generate that real attention that you want, whether good or bad. That's the other thing. It's an old phrase, but any press is good press. So you got your name out there is the key part. And if other individuals in the marketplace are interested in you that are doing the same business, then you are on the right track. So we already talked about this one, but I want to say it again. Bring on talent that meets your standards regardless of cost, and begin delegating. The CEO's job is to grow the business. Your job as the boss is to grow the business. So find talent, bring it on, and continue to go and find talent and start delegating, and tell the talent that you bring on, you're the boss, tell them what to do. That's why they're there. If you can continue to find a way to keep bringing talent your way and then delegating, you're going to become Rockefeller. Meetings are a routine to set you free. An established rhythm and routine creates faster growth. So I want to use my time working at Sherwin-Williams as an example. I know that at my level in the store, and even at the levels above where I was at, there was consistent, if not weekly, bi-weekly meetings or monthly, between me and my staff, or my boss and I, or my boss and their boss, so on and so forth. But there was a consistent amount of meetings established that would happen time and time again. And when you continue to have those meetings, in those meetings, that's where the production and the chemistry starts to build. Now, you could argue that you could go with having no meetings and still be very successful, but when it comes down to proven time and time again results, meetings are a routine to set you free. An established rhythm and routine creates faster growth, and that has been proven time and time again. So find a routine, and it doesn't have to even be meetings, just find something routine-wise that you and your company can rely on to consistently happen to help move forward. Customers build reputation. Employees and shareholders must be kept and grown. More selling equals more productivity. Keeping good records and determining whether to make or buy makes things better, faster, and more affordable. Those are 3 topics that I don't think I necessarily need to give an example of. I recommend just, again, going back a few times and listening to what I just said. If you can focus on those 3 topics that I just mentioned and really think about them, they all make sense. And I'm sure you can think of some examples in your head on how you can relate what you're working on to those examples, to those topics. Now for my favorite part of the book, absolute favorite. A strategic vision or idea is 1% vision and 99% alignment. This is built on core values. So, where's my book? I just want you to see this. And so what this means is the idea, it doesn't even have to be an original idea or anything that just knocks your socks off. If it is, great. You know, that's even better. However, what's most important in any company's growth is not the 1%, not the idea, it's the 99%, the alignment. How are you structured? How are you going to grow? How are you going to be successful? We've got this graph right here in the book. If you can see it, I recommend going back after I'm done talking about this and pausing the screen and just looking at this chart. It is amazing, okay? So, real quick, core values, purpose. I'm trying to read backwards here. Targets, goals, actions, schedule, and the daily. What are you doing? So, what this means to me, okay? We're gonna say, for the sake of this video, I'm talking about the business of Adam Carswell. We'll say Adam Carswell Incorporated, okay? This is an example. Adam, if there is ever going to be an Adam Carswell Incorporated, it has not been created yet. But anyways, what am I going to build my company on? I'm not going to build it necessarily on my purpose, because I'm going to be gone one day. What will last forever, despite whether or not I'm here or not, are the core values of my company. And I can tell you right now, for me, personally, my core values are honesty, integrity, and gratitude towards the Creator, towards God. So as I move, and then we're going to just use this as an example. Adam Carswell passes away. How is Adam Carswell Incorporated going to continue without the purpose of the leader, which is the second layer? All right, I'm the second layer here. The bottom layer were my core values, which I just mentioned. Whoever becomes that next leader in the company has the core values to fall back on, which continue to push it up and up. So we go to the other levels here. We have our targets, our 3 to 5 year goals, our annual goals, 1 year, quarterly actions, our weekly schedules, and our daily, day by day, what are you doing? Are you following through with the weekly schedule? If you kind of, I'm just gonna show you one more time. Look at this pyramid. It's the pyramid of success. So, and I also like to use my former company I used to work with, Sherwin-Williams, as an example. One thing, when they would send us to our training, one of the most important things, and it's funny because I didn't even really care that much about it back then, but now I just look back and I go, wow, you know, this company's been in business for 150 years. Why? Because of the core values. Not the guys that necessarily started the company, because it's 150 years old. They're gone. But the core values of the company, also honesty, integrity, and many other things which they taught us, which I can't remember right now, but that is what the company is built on. It's been around for 150 years. So build your business, build your company on your core values, then comes the purpose of the leader, so on and so forth, all the way up to what are you doing daily. And now for the 3 actual Rockefeller habits, which are listed in the book. There's 3. So we got number 1 is priorities, number 2 is data, and number 3 is rhythm. Priorities, data, rhythm. Okay, so let's dig in a little bit more to what those 3 are exactly. And I'm going to allow you to use your brain and your mind to think of examples. Maybe I'll throw some examples in there, I don't know, but here we go. Number 1, priorities. Figure out the number 1 priority for any particular quarter. That's it, plain and simple. Number 1 priority. Figure out the number 1 priority for any particular quarter. So between now and the next 3 months, I'm going to ask you right now, what is your number 1 priority within the next 3 months? What's your number 1 priority? Think about it. Remember that. Number 2 is data. Monitor the progress of the business daily and weekly. And by monitor the progress, that means keep an active log. Take notes of what you're doing daily and weekly. I know this is a very difficult part for many people. It's a challenge for me. I think that I do a good job personally of keeping track and focusing on what I do daily. but it's tough. And some people are really good at it. So that's number 2 though. So you got the priority. Number 2, data, keeping track of your progress, monitoring the progress of the business daily and weekly. And number 3 is rhythm. As I mentioned earlier, how important rhythm is. Figure out who it is that you need to be meeting with, or figure out what it is that you need to be reading or doing. There needs to be a consistency to something that you're doing, whether it's just you or the people you're working with or whoever it is that you're aiming to impact. Rhythm is going to keep you and them moving in the right direction. Priorities, data, rhythm. If you didn't get that, go back a few minutes and listen. Very important. If you have a company or a business that's growing between 20 to 100% annually, treat each quarter as its own year. When you do that, you'll be able to break it down more and to enhance your results even greater. This is the last tidbit of the book that I want to leave you with. Have you ever heard of a BHAG before? B-H-A-G. It is a big, hairy, audacious goal. I can tell you, for example, in my own life now, I have plenty of BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. And what they are goals that are set 10 years from now, because you know it's almost like shooting for the moon, shooting for the stars. What are your shoot for the moon goals? What are your shoot for the stars goals? Do you want to have $50 billion in 10 years? Do you want to be the #1 gymnast in the world in 10 years? That's a BHAG. It's a big, hairy, audacious goal. So you put that out there, you start to think about it, and you build energy and excitement around it to the point where, who knows, you may actually just achieve that BHAG. So do yourself a favor and determine a BHAG today. Set a goal for yourself 10 years from now. Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? Write it down. Keep it to yourself. Don't tell anyone else, just between you and your mind. And think about it and dwell on it and believe that you can actually do it. You really never know. That's all I have for today with Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. I hope it provided some great insight to you. If you've ever read this book and you are watching this, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think even if you haven't read the book, but any feedback you can give me, please send it. I would like to hear. I think it's a pretty good analysis of the book if you're trying to read it without reading it. Here it is. And that's all I got for you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'm working on some other books right now. As soon as I finish those, I will do the same thing and break them down for you so we can all get smarter together. Thank you, and remember, in all you think, say, and do, take it to the next level.